His hand was shaking so badly, the coffee moved in the cup. George Michael sat in the corner of a small London cafe, collar raised, trying to disappear for 20 minutes. Rain tapped the window. Then an older stranger stopped beside his table, and he looked down before she could speak. She was not chasing a photograph. She carried a shopping bag and the quiet patience of someone who had lived through things. She did not call his name loudly. She simply asked if she could say one thing. George almost refused. He was tired of words. But her voice did not feel hungry. He nodded once. The woman stayed standing, careful not to trap him. He braced for the usual lines about Wham, Faith, or a favorite song from years ago. He knew how to receive praise politely. But this was not praise. It was something smaller, heavier, and harder to defend against. She said, "You looked after people you never met. I hope someone looks after you too." George did not answer. His fingers tightened around the cup. No one in the cafe noticed. No camera moved closer, but inside him, a locked door shifted slightly on its hinges. By then, George had grown used to being misunderstood. The world had seen the smile, the scandals, the disappearances, the grief, the generosity, the silence. It had turned him into headlines and memories. But very few people asked whether the man behind all of it was simply tired. He had lost Anselmo. He had lost his mother, Leslie. He had lost seasons of peace he could never properly explain. Still, people wanted the voice. They wanted the old brightness. They wanted proof that George Michael could turn pain into something beautiful every time. But pain had a body. It lived in the shoulders. It lived behind the eyes. It lived in the pores before answering a simple question. That day, in the corner of the cafe, he looked like a man who had carried too many rooms alone. The stranger saw it before he could hide it. She told him her husband had been ill once, and one of George's songs had played in their kitchen during the final winter. Not loudly, just enough to fill the space between medicine bottles and waiting. She said the song helped her sit still when she had no strength left. George looked at the table. Compliments about his voice could slide past him. He knew how to smile through them. But this was different. She was not admiring the sound. She was telling him the sound had held a life together in a room he had never seen. Fame had taught him to distrust attention. Kindness from strangers could become need. Need could become possession. Possession could become judgment. But this woman wanted nothing. She had brought no camera, no demand, no performance. Only a sentence placed before him like a warm coat. Then she said the words that stayed. You do not have to be strong every minute. Not from a manager, not from a journalist, not from a crowd, from a stranger who looked at him as if he were somebody's son, not somebody's legend. That was the line. For a second, his face changed. The guarded expression softened, then broke at the edges. He gave a small laugh, without humor, more like breath escaping after being trapped too long. He nodded once, then again, as if answering too quickly might stop the tears from coming. He had spent his life being strong in public, strong enough to leave Wham and stand alone, strong enough to fight for his music, strong enough to survive loss, ridicule, and the strange cruelty of being loved by millions who did not always know how to be gentle. But strength can become a prison when nobody lets you put it down. The older woman seemed to know that without being told. Maybe age teaches people how much pain can sit behind ordinary faces. Maybe she had carried her own grief through grocery aisles and hospital corridors. She did not stay long. That mattered. She gave him the words and protected their dignity by leaving no photograph, no scene, no proof, just one hand resting lightly on the chair before she walked away. Some moments are holy because they remain almost invisible. George sat there after she left, staring at the empty space. Rain kept moving down the window. His coffee cooled. In the corner of that cafe, the famous man seemed smaller, but not weaker. For once, being seen did not feel like being exposed. He may have thought of Leslie then. His mother had a way of making him feel human before the world made him useful. Losing her had removed a shelter nothing could replace. The stranger's words did not bring Leslie back, but for one moment, they sounded like shelter. He may have thought of the people he had helped quietly, strangers whose names he never needed to know. Maybe this was the other side of mercy. Maybe kindness travels even when no one can trace the route. Maybe what you give in secret finds its way back. That day did not fix him. Real life rarely works that way. He still had dark mornings. He still had loneliness. He still had a complicated heart. But a single sentence can become a small lamp. It does not end the night. It shows where the floor is. Years later, people would reach for big words: icon, legend, genius, troubled, generous, but maybe the stranger saw something simpler. A man who had comforted others and needed permission to receive a little comfort himself. That was the truth beneath the fame. That is what fame hides most cruelly. It teaches the public to expect endless giving. Songs, smiles, apologies, beauty, explanations. But the person giving all of that still needs someone to look across a table and say, "You can rest now. You do not have to earn tenderness." George eventually stood, left money on the table, and stepped back into the rain. Nothing outside had changed. Cars passed. People hurried beneath umbrellas. But something inside him had been touched without being taken. For once, a stranger had not asked him to be George Michael. She had allowed him to be George. His hand had been shaking when the coffee moved in the cup. By the time he left, the shaking had softened. Sometimes the words a man needs most are not grand. They are simple enough to survive. You do not have to be strong every minute. His hand was shaking so badly the coffee moved in the cup. And maybe, after that stranger walked away, George finally understood that kindness could return quietly too. Not as applause, not as rescue, just as one human sentence, strong enough to help him keep walking.
If this story changed the way you remember George Michael, stay with us. There are more untold chapters still hidden behind the voice, the fame, and the silence. Like the video, subscribe, and let the next story find you.